here finally. Tonight's going to be a challenge, but I think it's going to be a great night. We started off with a great dinner, and we have a lot of great stories ahead. You know, I didn't know that we would get here with the pandemic and all. But we persevered and we're here. And I'm very grateful. One thing that I want to leave with you before we start is that we can be the change. We can be the difference. And don't take tomorrow for granted. Live today. I'd like to bring to the stage Sam Lehman, our Partnership Business Development Director. Is that right?
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. I'm Sam Lehman from the greatest city in the world, New York City. Very proud to be here. You know, I was an inductee of 2018, and it was such a proud night for me. And for the inductees, I'm just so happy for all of you. It's quite an honor. I'm going to be brief before I begin. CJ, when I was inducted, said you must purchase a Hall of Fame ring. And I was hesitant. I wasn't sure what to do, but I ended up purchasing a ring. It is such a dude magnet. It's incredible. You got it all together. So, really, a Hall of Fame ring is a must. Karen, our associate from Inductions, is here. If you find her tonight, you get a nice box with it. It is so easy. You can walk up to Karen, she'll get you size, she'll get you your ring. It really is a wonderful thing for the inductees. I really encourage you to do so. You know, our board is split in half. We have board members who face inward, and we have board members who face out. I face out. They talk about strike zones, all kinds of crazy stuff. Trajectories and velocities and all that. I talk about you. I tell your story. If you've ever heard my pitch, I pitch over and over and over again to corporate America, your story, your sacrifices, you getting up early on a Saturday morning, thankless, paving the way for others behind you. The pitch that I make is so easy. It's telling corporate America your story. It's endearing and it's wonderful. I love doing it. We've made so many great new partners, and telling your story is wonderful. And I thank you all so much for giving me the opportunity to tell your story. And it's successful. The partners that we're making are amazing. Nike Corporation is on our side, on our team. Cintas, Mr. We have, you know, the amount of partners we have is amazing. National Gay Lesbian Chamber of Commerce, the NGFFL. It's really endearing. You know, when we're looking for partners, we want to make sure that they treat and respect their employees. We want to make sure that these companies have employee resource groups so the voice of the LGBT employees have a say. So it's really important for us who we partner with. I think we have great partners. Probably one of our most endearing partners really is Molson Coors. They have been with us for so long and has treated us so well. They're amazing. I can't tell you, year after year after year, they go to bat for us. I cannot be more pleased, and I'd love to give you have you give a nice warm reception for my friend Michael Nordman, who's a community director of Molson Coors out of Chicago.
Thank you so much, everyone. And as Sam mentioned, you might not be familiar with the name Molson Coors. We've been Miller Coors over the years. We've been Coors. a lot of different names that have come forward, but Molson Coors Beverage Company is our current name. I'm Michael Nordman, the Senior Manager of Community Affairs at Molson Coors Beverage Company based out of Chicago. And I just want to first congratulate all of the Hall of Famers. You really have paved the way. Watching that video was so inspiring to see the passion that people have had for the sport for now 44 years, next year 45. So give yourselves a round of applause for that. And I know how special it is to come back together after the pandemic, and so tonight I also want to congratulate the inductees of the class of 2020 and the class of 2021 tonight. I also want to thank the staff and board of NAGAAA and the volunteers who made the Gay Softball World Series the great event that it is. So as Sam mentioned, there's a reason why Molson Coors is a partner with NAGAAA and why we have this long history, because we have a commitment to championing diversity, and this long-standing commitment includes that to the LGBTQ community. Miller Brewing Company was actually one of the first beverage companies to offer same-sex benefits to our LGBTQ plus employees. And we have continued to extend those best practices and also lead the industry through internal policies, which has earned us a proud score of 100 for 18 straight years on the HRC Corporate Equality Award. And of course, Miller Lite is kind of the lead brand this weekend. Hopefully you guys are getting to enjoy our products out of the fields. And Miller Lite actually just announced a great partnership with the organization, the Equality Federation, which is an investment of $250,000 going to statewide equality groups across the country. These groups are the ones who fought for marriage, who fought for equal rights and equal treatment in the workplace. And as a part of that program, we started a program called Open and Proud, which will include having town halls across the country to talk about how we can make bars more inclusive. I'm not just talking about straight bars being more inclusive to LGBTQ people, but also LGBTQ bars being more inclusive to all the parts of our community. And so we're kicking that off over the next couple of years, and we will be bringing that to those bar owners so that they can have guidelines to make it a more inclusive space for all our community. And lastly, one of our other newer brands, Vizzy, has a commitment of 3 years for $1 million to the Human Rights Campaign. This partnership will help ensure full LGBTQ plus equality for all of the United States. So all that is to say, not just to brag on us, but that is the values that we stand for and unite together to champion diversity. And we are so honored to be a partner with NAGAAA. And I just want to thank everyone tonight. We would not be able to invest in the community without your loyalty and support for our brands. And I know you guys do that at the fields when you're out there and you want a Miller Lite or a Coors Light and grabbing that. So I just want to say thank you for that. And cheers.
Thank you, Michael. One other thing that I wanted to point out, Right Choice Promotions has a special table over here. They have some Hall of Fame shirts. $5 goes back to NAGAAA Hall of Fame. $5 goes to the Ken Sears Memorial Fund that you'll hear more about later. And they're $25, and she's got them over there. So just make sure that you at least look and see. But we would be happy for your support. Well, without further ado, we're going to start the class of 2020.
I'm the former Commissioner for Softball Austin and your current NAGAAA Governance Committee Chair and Parliamentarian. Tonight we are surrounded by individuals who have been recognized as the cornerstone of this family we call NAGAAA. It is my very great honor to introduce Rich Siegel as a NAGAAA Hall of Fame inductee for the class of 2020, adding his name to the long list of people who have paved the way for us to be where we are today. Rich has been an integral part of Softball Austin for over 15 years and filled every role you can think of in a softball league, from cheerleader, player, manager, scorekeeper, committee chair, and board member. And in 2016, he served as the director of the Austin GSWS. He continues to be a resource to this day for current board members and players. He He served on the national level as a delegate and committee chair, and you may recognize his voice from the debut of Cloud Sports Network broadcasting of our very own NAGAAA games. We are a better league and a better organization for his contributions, and I can think of no person more deserving to be designated as Softball Austin's very first NAGAAA Hall of Fame inductee. It is with great admiration and respect that I present to you my friend and mentor, Rich Siegel, class of 2020.
The price you pay for asking Roy a lot of questions is that you get to go first. I'm happy to say that as I address you this evening, it is mostly sunny, 97 degrees in Austin. And wouldn't you know that on this very special night in my life, Dallas Aldridge gave me some rain. I am very honored to be a member of the class of 2020, particularly because there are so many of my friends in this class, most notably one of my NAGAAA heroes, Kevin Riddle. Love and swirls, baby. I don't know, I think you're somewhere over here, but I can't see any faces at all. I would like to start by thanking Stephen McCormick. Are you timing this, by the way? Will you let me know when I have a minute left? I would like to thank Stephen McCormick. Stephen is the person who nominated me in 2019 and then strengthened that nomination in 2020. He had a most gracious introduction to me tonight, and I am grateful to Stephen for allowing me to stay active in Softball Austin when, as commissioner, he invited me to serve as the head of the governance committee, and I am grateful to him. In 2019, I joined an organization called the Cloud Sports Network, and in so doing, became the voice of gay softball, the moniker given to me by Roman Jimenez. I am extremely grateful to Roman for allowing me to recognize a dream come true, to be a broadcaster. That's what I wanted to do with my life from the time I was 10. And Roman gave me that opportunity, and I feel that being a member of his team is what may have pushed me over the edge to be a part of this class of 2020. To my league, and in particular those who have served on the board and the commissioners under which I have served, including Albert Rodriguez and Seth Rodriguez, our current commissioner. Thank you for letting me be a part of the organization, and to all of the people that voted for me to be the secretary and the assistant commissioner. To Ted Burton. Ted Burton is the founder of Softball Austin in 2004. Ted gave me the opportunity to be a member of the league, being the scorekeeper, the third base coach of the Bat Boys, and also to serve on the board, thus gaining the confidence that I needed to be able to do what I'm doing tonight. Ted can't be here, but I'm eternally grateful to him. In April of 2005, I attended a house watching party while we were watching the UT basketball in the NCAA playoffs, and I met a guy who told me something that I did not know. That there is gay softball in Austin, Texas. How in the world I didn't know that, being the queen that I am, is a miracle that has no end. I have attained a lot as a member of Softball Austin and a member of NAGAAA because of my good friend Ram Rangel. He is sitting at our table tonight. Ram, I am eternally grateful to you for the introduction that you made with the Bat Boys, which ultimately led to board service and to my service with NAGAAA. I have a lot of family here tonight, all of you. I am very honored to be a part of this class of 2020, and please know, especially to those of you who voted for me to be a member of this august group, that I am humble, happy, and very grateful. Thank you.
Warren Mitchell, on behalf of my co-sponsors, Buck Bachman, Brad Mayhew, and Ricky Toomey, it's my honor to introduce Boston's latest inductee to the NAGAAA Hall of Fame, Jim McNulty. Jim has been a player for over 20 years, a coach whose teams have brought home literally dozens of trophies from gay softball tournaments around the country, including 4 Gay Softball Awards World Series trophies and a NAGAAA Cup trophy. Additionally, many of you may know Jim as the tournament director for Boston's Minuteman Classic, as the assistant commissioner in Boston, or a role that he held for many years, the NAGAAA rep. It is my great pleasure to introduce my former teammate, my former coach, my former fellow BSL officer, and my good friend, Jim McNulty.
Thank you, and thank you, Richard. That was a great speech. It's a tough act to follow, but I'll do my best. At a practice just prior to opening day of my first season 25 years ago, my coach, Joe Sarno, as a means to motivate us, said, "Guys, the World Series is in San Diego this year." And well, I was motivated. And from that point on, as a player, coach, NAGAAA rep, and the many roles I've played since, the World Series and NAGAAA became my focus and motivation for everything I did during my softball career, and it changed my life. My induction tonight is a great honor, and I thank the members of the Hall of Fame for electing me because you've given me back a bond with you, NAGAAA, and the World Series for all the many years ahead, and I thank you so much for that. That bond wouldn't have been renewed if it weren't for being nominated by my sponsor, Warren Mitchell. He's been my teammate, commissioner, fellow visionary for Boston, NAGAAA, and my good friend for so many, many years. Thank you so much, Warren. And thank you to my friends and now fellow Hall of Fame members who co-sponsored my nomination. Brad Mayhew, Ricky Toomey, the Boston thing. And now in his 35th World Series, Boston's hotel room reservation king and Boston Hall of Fame dinner table reservation Buck Bachman. Thank you. And I wouldn't be here if it weren't for the support of the love of my life and partner in my life, Carlos Barbosa, who I met almost exactly 19 years ago today, while I was, of course, recruiting pickup players at Fritz for the Portland World Series. Thanks for your patience with me, but I also am very happy that you've enjoyed living your softball life, so long as I am behaving myself. Thank you. And thanks to my brother Bobby, who has been my softball partner for 45 years, and all of my years in NAGAAA. We would never have been so successful over these many years if it weren't for his dedication and spectacular play as our star shortstop, the Club Cafe Angel. Thank you, Bobby. And for the strong support during that time that we both have received from our family, who are here represented by my sister Kathy and brother-in-law Malcolm. Thanks to my sponsors who were so generous to me and my teams over many years, especially the Club Cafes, Frank Urbano and Jim Warbridge. I wouldn't have been here without you guys. Thank you. Thanks to my BSL leaders of the past who pushed me to get involved in league leadership. Thanks Commissioner Billy Svets and John Haas. And to my current league officers who welcomed me back to the league with open arms and gave me the honor of carrying in the flag for our league last night at opening ceremonies. Thanks, guys. Thanks to my longtime Club Cafe Angels teammates and my newest teammates of the Diablos and the Big Poppies. And for all the support from all of my fellow BSL members, past and present, who are here tonight. And for the teams that are represented here in Boston, who are also here tonight, Blizzard, Rebels, Postmasters, Guilty Pleasures, X Factors, and introducing the Big Poppies. I've not been given the time to thank everybody personally now tonight. But please know that it means a great deal to me that you're here tonight to support me, and you've done it all my career, and I thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
My name is Bam Bam Bowers, and I'm your NAGAAA. Tonight it is my privilege to introduce Julie Caldwell as a member of the 2020 Hall of Fame. Julie's been participating in NAGA since 1991, over 30 years of experience as a player, coach, and umpire. 4 times a World Series player, she was a champion on the 1994 Chicago Mud Hens team. 4 times she brought teams as a coach or a manager to the World Series from her home league of Chicago. And for 14 years, she served as an umpire at the World Series, with 4 of those, including this year, as one of your assistant UICs. Julie was a member of the Hall of Fame committee as co-chair between 2000 and 2008. She was previously inducted into this Hall of Fame prior to the split with the Sun. Bringing Julie back to the Hall of Fame is a no-brainer for us, and we're really happy to see that happen. Women are an integral part of sports, particularly here at NAGA, and especially to the sport of softball. For over 30 years, we've been blessed with the experience, expertise, skill, and passion that Julie Caldwell brings to this game. It gives me no greater pleasure as her friend to welcome her to the Hall of Fame.
On their phones, but at the fields, you can only text as USC, so that went out. So in true assistant USC form, I have my speech on a W-9 form. So much short. Thank you very much for this honor. I want to congratulate the class of 2020 and 2021. I'm honored to be chosen with you and your amazing accomplishments. Never last but not least, always first to thank is my partner, Maureen, for a lot of my softball time and umpire talk at home when she's like, man, I don't get that info. I couldn't do it without you. My sister Lisa, who flew up here from Texas, appreciate you coming in tonight representing our family. She painstakingly had to catch all my fast pitches against the garage door when she was younger, so I appreciate all those years you've taken. Thank you to my table friends, I love you all. I want to thank all the UICs that I've worked through for all these years that I've been an umpire. Thank you, Bam Bam, for leading us this year. You are doing a great job. You have a big heart, you are too kind. To my umpire friends, many are here, you're my blue family. It's not just umpiring, it's friendships that we've developed and will last a long lifetime. To my teammates from Chicago that I played for, some who are here and some who have passed, thanks for all the great NAGA memories. I couldn't have done it without Hall of Famer Jim Flint, who, as you know, owns Baton Show Club, who has sponsored us through many events. I think we've contributed to many of Chili Pepper's outfits throughout these years. God bless her. And in conclusion, people always say, well, what do you do at NAGA? And I explain that it's not what I do, it's the why of NAGA. So a couple things. I'll explain. It stayed up till 2:30 a.m. with Bam Bam and Tony Timmons filling out games with umpires and throwing them out on fields. Tampa. It's sharing a room with Sandy Diaz, who doesn't mind starting the day with me at 6:30 a.m. and is there till the last game. Thank you, Sandy. It's Paul Moore, fellow Hall of Famer, who last year came surprisingly to my dad's funeral done in San Antonio, Texas. Thank you, Paul. It's Alex, Stacy, Nancy from California, who, it doesn't matter what time it is, I can call you for an umpire question. You all have the same correct answer. Thank you. It's TK, who joined me in Chicago for a Cubs game. It's Neil Colbert, who actually put together our little umpire Zoom calls over these many months when we didn't get to see each other. And one more, it's Connie Stewart, who I call in Vegas or text her, and I always forget the time change. She's like, girl, I'm still sleeping. Thank you. It's those moments. So when people ask you what you do at NAGAAA, it's the whys we do at NAGAAA. Thank you very much.
For over 25 years, Paul Moore's name has been synonymous with Kansas City gay softball. That's evidenced by his long track record of service to the Heart of America Softball League, most notably as commissioner, where he set the stage for many of the positive changes that the organization has experienced over the past several years. One of my biggest regrets in softball is that I didn't get Paul a trophy or a medal when he played for my team at the GSWS about 6 years ago. But I'm so happy that he was able to get his medal for the second place finish with the Kansas City Hitmen in 2018. His impressive GSWS credentials include being a part of an elite group of people that have both umpired a divisional championship game and won a medal at the Gay Softball World Series. If you've ever had the privilege to play with or know Paul, you understand that he plays hard. He plays to win. He's a fantastic pitcher, a great base hitter. You also know that his favorite drink at the bar is a vodka diet. But most importantly, you know that Paul is a great person and teammate. Paul, Hall of Fames are made for people like you who've had such a positive impact on people's lives, including mine. It is my honor to induct Paul Moore into the NAGAAA Hall of Fame class of 2020.
All right, be ready. I'll be your first crier of the night. Oh, it's going to happen. First thing I want to say is I love you. All right, let me get that away. I can go. I'm going to need my readers because I'm getting Thank you. First, I'd like to thank all the Hall of Fame members, all those who voted for me, even those who didn't, all those that are here and not here. It's a great honor to be standing here among you, and I thank all of you for welcoming me to be a part of this great organization. I want to thank Roy and the host committee who did a wonderful job on this dinner tonight. I think we all are happy with that. Great food. To go along with it, so I think you always do a great job. It's always a great success. I'd like to special congratulations to my fellow inductees, Julie, Rich, Kevin, Tim, not time. won't even discuss shirts. Thanks to my local league, Hassel KC, and my fellow Kansas City Hall of Famers, Ernie, Terry, Phil, and CJ. Love you all. You all are my inspiration of over the years. I think my table, Doug Wright, Doug Reynolds, Scott Schweitzer, our commissioner, thank you for being here. Jack Lee, our assistant commissioner. Daniel Flynn and Derek, my coaches, thank you for inviting me this year. I'm a pickup player this year, and if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be playing. Phil's at that table. Sheila Sheridan, who flew in for this. Thank you, sir, for being here. Inside joke there. Special thanks for Jeff Sloan. Jeff, you've been a great friend over these years. You're a great person for NAGAAA. You do such a wonderful job, and I expect all of you to vote for him once you see his name on that list. He will be on that list very soon. Thank you, Jeff. Now to my family, my sisters, my nieces and nephews, my daughter, Adrian, my grandkids. Yes, I have grandkids. But mostly to my mom and dad. They were supposed to be here tonight, because of my father's health. He's unable to travel. I'll be losing him very soon. They were coming. They've always been a great support in my life. I'm very lucky as a gay person to have the support of your family. Not everyone gets it, and I appreciate them more than they will ever know. But, sorry. But I wouldn't be sitting here today if it wasn't for one other person. A person that's been in our league for many years and has passed away also. I want to thank Mr. Richard Thomas, Ramona Baker. I can remember one day a long time ago, 28 years ago, I think it is, playing darts at the Dixie Bell. Some of you know the Dixie Bell, some of you know it very well. We were playing in a dart tournament. He comes up to me and says, "Bitch, do you play softball?" If anybody knows Ramona, you know that's how she talks with her Cajun accent. I said, "Actually, girl, what you doing on Sunday? Because you need to come out and play some ball with us." And I did, and I loved it. I went to San Diego in 1997 as a photographer for my local newspaper. Got my first taste of the World Series. I played in 1999, was actually the first time as a player. And I've been hooked ever since. This is my 18th World Series. And I love the meetings, I love the people, I love everything about it. And I love you all, and I thank you very much.
Hall of Fame class of 2019. Our next inductee was an obvious choice for selection into the NAGAAA Hall of Fame. During his 30 years of involvement with NAGAAA, he's played many roles: player, coach, tournament director, league commissioner, NAGAAA assistant commissioner. This inductee is a go-to leader whose dedication is unparalleled and impact is far-reaching. He's a man who is equally kind and caring, and his commitment to building and supporting players and teams is well known across our organization. His sportsmanship sets the standard for NAGAAA. If you've had the chance to watch him or play against him, you know he's a fierce competitor, but an even greater teammate and coach. I couldn't be more proud to introduce you to a man I've admired for years, and I'm thrilled to call my friend. I'm sure many of you would agree this induction is long overdue. Please welcome to the stage 2020 Hall of Fame inductee, Kevin Ribble.
just speak from my heart. That's all I know to do. So, Paula, I will follow your tears. I didn't bring a napkin, though. So, here we go. So, the first thing I want to say is thank you to my husband. He can't be here tonight, but I will tell you, as a man who just celebrated his 18th anniversary, I know every minute that man supports me. If he did not, I would not be here. So I want to thank you for to my team. I started in Dallas just a few years ago. So I started in Dallas, Texas, and I've been on a team called Texas Toast. So prior to Texas Toast, I had played on another team, Beer Maidens, I think, which was quite hysterical since people who know me know I don't drink, so, other than Squirrel, don't get it twisted. So I played with Beer Maidens, and I took a little break, and then I went and played with Dallas, Texas Toast, and it was then that I really understood what NAGAAA softball is. This organization has brought to me a true sense of life, like I hope and I suspect that it has for all of you. I thought I'd never find a team of friends like I do with my Texas Toast team. When I tell you I found that and then some of my Nashville Force team, guys, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you for being on the field and off the field, the kind of gentleman that you all are. Thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate that. For the rest of you that I see on this audience, Mona Garcia, I see your beautiful face. I'm so honored to be here with you. Chris Bolton, I was shocked and a little disappointed that I didn't see you earlier. But when I tell you, I'm thrilled to see you standing here now. Chris Bolton is and will always be a fantastic leader. He's a friend, he's a leader, he has led this organization as has Roy and others. For the rest of you out there, continue to do what you do and do it for the right reasons. Love the people that support you, support the people who love you, and then you'll be here one day. Do it for the right reasons. Thank you. I'm so honored, and I thank you all for being here and celebrating this moment for me.
I'm Jeff James from the NAGAAA Softball League and introduce Derek Danton. Derek's first year in NAGAAA was in 1980 in the Toronto Cabbagetown Softball. His first softball World Series was in Toronto in 1981. In 1982, he joined the NAGAAA Softball League in New York City and has been a part of it ever since. Derek has been a NAGAAA softball player for over 40 years. He played more than half those years in A and B divisions as an elite player. Derek and his husband, Robert, are the owners of the New York City's premier A bar, the Eagle. They've been sponsoring teams in the league at tournaments in NAGAAA cities and World Series for over 20 years. They're sponsoring 2 Eagle teams at this year's World Series. As a manager, softball has always been more than a game to Derek. It was about camaraderie, friendship, and respect. Play hard, lead on the field, and enjoy your time together as a team. I'm so happy for Derek to join the other NAGAAA Hall of Famers from New York, including Chuck Dima, the godfather of gay softball. I now present Derek Danton.
And I've been clean and sober for the last 2 years. I'm a softball-aholic, like most of you here, right? But I've been clean and sober, and my husband of 27 years is very happy about that. I didn't know, this is amazing, I didn't know any of this was going to happen. But in 1980, you know, I was a young kid in college, and I met this guy who, he said to me, he says, do you play sports? Because I was kind of fumbling around, I didn't know what to do, I didn't know anybody. And I said, yeah, you know, I played everything, I was an athlete my whole life. And he says, do you play baseball? And you play softball? I said, no, I play baseball. He said, well, it's kind of the same thing. So he says, you know, there's a gay softball league here in Toronto. I was like, you gotta be kidding me, right? Anyways, we went to practice, and the first practice, this guy shows up in high heels. Okay, he shows up in high heels, he gets up at the plate, and he hits the ball a mile and runs to first base in high heels. I'm like, are you kidding me? I found my, this is great. So it turns out I was a pretty good ball player, and they recruited me to play on a traveling team. I went to Milwaukee in 1980 at the Rec Room Classic. Yeah. And I met Richie Diaz, who stole me from Toronto, and I ended up moving to New York. And I played for Richie for a few years, and Chuck Dima, and my good friend Jerry Fitzpatrick. It's been a, you know, for a young gay man coming out, it couldn't have been a better thing. I mean, it was just incredible for me. I found people that understood who I was as a person, as a man, and it was incredible. So I want to thank all of you for paving this path for me and making it easy for somebody who traveled from Pakistan in 1966 to be part of something that felt really comfortable for me. I want to thank my husband of 27 years, Robert, who seen more ice on my knees than in my cocktails. I want to thank NAGAAA once again and the members of the Hall of Fame for bringing me here. I want to thank my sister Allison, who flew here from Toronto to be here. You know, when we used to go to the Canada Cup in Toronto every year, my entire family would show. My dad, my mom, my brothers, my sisters. They brought food. I mean, you know, you could have asked for anything better. I want to thank Jeff James. I don't think anything better could have happened for softball, for gay softball. I want to thank all my teammates for years and years and years who've been on this journey with me, and I really thank you. Thank you, everybody, and have a great night.
It is my honor to introduce Larry Gershberg. I first met Larry back in the late 80s at a softball tournament in New York City. At the time, he was ravaging things gay men everywhere. And more personally, and important to us, our member city league. Larry wanted to do something about it, along with Mount Hampshire, started the Plain Flag tournament, whose proceeds went entirely to the gay community. It was passion and to me heroism is what initially drew me to Larry. Stepping back, in 1986, Larry Russell met playing softball in Central Park. It was his first introduction to the gay softball World Series. Soon after that, he was recruited by Chuck Dima, one of the founders of NAGAAA, to not only play in the ASL, but to sponsor a team. Over the next 30-something years, Larry won the championship of the A, C, and D divisions. I got to enjoy his talent to the sidelines of the stand. In 2013, as fate would have it, when the family of himself, Southern New England and New York, combined to field the team for the Washington, D.C. Masters Tournament, I got to see firsthand his commitment to a team. His pitching, hitting, defense, and running. Well, not so much the running. Helped lead us to his fifth championship. On a more personal note, after 29 softball Hall Series, it was my first championship. That moment is forever etched in my mind. And in the near future, I may forget what I had for breakfast today, but I assure you I will never forget that moment. I am forever grateful for his help with that. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Larry Gersberg.
Congratulations to all my co-op inductees, especially Derek Danton, who's the sponsor of my New York Eagle team, who's represented New York so well for so many years. Hi, I'm Larry, I pitch for New York, and I'm the luckiest boy in the world. I started the Playing for Life tournament in the early 90s. I had a lover who died of AIDS, and through the years we've managed to donate over $250,000 to different charities all around the country. I was walking in Central Park one day, I saw a gay flag and guys playing softball, and I said, what's this? They said, it's the Gay Softball World Series. I said, those are all my favorite words all together in one sentence. I met Chuck Zima and Bobby Calabrese, and there's a few people that I feel like their names should just be hanging around the air of the Hall of Fame, which is Dave Cernigliero and Craig Morrison. Dave is the greatest player and the person I respected most in the world until I met Paul Gedman. I went on my first tournament to Boston and I met Alan Edelman. He played shortstop and so did I. I went over after the game and I said, you play nice. He goes, you too, you want to have a beer? 35 years later, he's still my best friend and business partner. Then I met the greatest pitcher ever in NAGAAA, Gary Brenner, who joined our team. We went to the first Philly tournament, the first Fort Lauderdale tournament, the first Tampa tournament, and try to support all the new leagues with their tournaments by bringing a team from New York. I want to thank all my New York friends and teammates who came tonight to support me. I thought I was finished with World Series play, and then one day Sam Lehman called me and said, we're forming a team for the Senior World Series, and it should be very exciting to play on a softball Saturday. Would you like to play? I said, sure. So then he saw me pitching and fielding, and he goes, Larry, you're like a cat out there. An old sick cat, but a cat. I want to thank Eddie Visconti for that wonderful introduction. Not all true, but I'll take it anyway. I've had a lot of great managers, Chuck Zima, Paul Caruso, Sam Lehman, Mike Browse, John McHenry, Danny Ryan, and Jeff James, who's also a big supporter and nominated me. I want to thank my original #1 fan, my dad, my first #1 fan, Michael Patrick, who's not here anymore, and my new current #1 fan, Marvin Koenig. Through softball, I've got to play at many World Series, travel the country, saw 24 states, and my favorite World Series of all time was the San Diego Zoo World Series. Sometimes it seems like winning a softball game is the most important thing. Sometimes it seems like it's the greatest thing. But tonight is really the greatest moment of all. And I am the luckiest boy in the world. And because I'm 61 and still totally incorrigible, I'll just say that tonight is like licking and sucking down the ice off the cake.
My pleasure to introduce to you from San Diego, 2020 NAGAAA Hall of Fame inductee Craig Marshall. After serving 3 years on the Don't Ask, Don't Tell in the United States Navy, Craig only played in Navy and civilian leagues and tournaments. He was introduced to our AFCSL NAGAAA family in 2000. He was immediately proven to be a fair and honest umpire. His experience, work ethic, and willingness to explain and teach was far beyond expectations. Over the course of 20+ years, Craig has always been a friend, a coach, a mentor, and family. He is approachable and is always willing to listen and explain the rules of the game of softball. Craig demonstrates the utmost professionalism, dedication, and sincere desire to umpire with a customer service mentality. He encourages ASA training and achieving tournament certifications and has initiated study groups for ASA examinations. In his words, NAGAAA is my family. I was finally able to accept me for being who I am. My umpire family is closer in some respects than my own family, and that I can never repay. Please welcome my friend and family member, 2020 NAGAAA Hall of Fame inductee, Craig Harshaw.
How do you fall? Amazing. Well, Jim said everything I wanted to say. But in reality, coming up through softball, when I was in the Navy, it was hard because I couldn't be who I was. And when I got to my first World Series, it was funny. It was in Washington, D.C. in 2003, Saturday. I had this A game, and this guy with muscles and a neck like this came up and says, "Lou, are you gay or are you straight?" I said, "What?" He says, "Are you gay or straight?" I says, "I'm a blue." Well, he says, "Do you have a gay card?" I go, "A gay what?" He says, "Oh, you must be straight." I knew I was wrong. But I wouldn't be here today, and this sort of led into something Roy was speaking to earlier, is about going and moving forward. And moving forward for me was accomplished by having mentors. And each one of you are mentors. Through your actions as coaches, umpires, friends, and plenty of allies among us. I've been lucky to have 3 strong mentors in my life. Mr. Bob Kaufman, who we just recently lost from cancer, was one of my best mentors ever, who taught me softball for what it should be. He was Mr. Mechanic. He was known in Southern California as Mr. Slow Pitch. We got Jeff Stewart in the audience, who would sit for hours going over and talking about rules. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention my third name, which was Tony Timmons, who brought humanity, compassion, and being humble on the field. But more importantly, it means more to me to have my umpire family. Because the hours we spend putting together the schedules, working with, grooming, and mentoring our umpires, and building relationships with players, that brought me to the NAGAAA family as a whole. And I want to take this opportunity to thank the Hall of Fame members who voted me in. Most probably didn't even know who I was, because if I was doing my job, I went on the field, I left, and you didn't even know I was there. So at this point, I just want to thank you all. I want to thank Chris and Roy. I've had the pleasure of working with them as an assistant UIC under their leadership. And I want to thank each and every one of you for being here and supporting us. And let's move forward and mentor not only ball players, but we need umpires. So again, thank you very much.
I'm thrilled to introduce a man many of you know for his commitment to LGBTQIA softball, both locally and on an international level. Having been involved in the Columbus Gay Lesbian Softball Association for 17 years, he served as the commissioner for 12 of those years, while also taking on key responsibilities in the league, such as forming and directing the Buckeye Softball Classic and co-directing Baton Rouge, the league's largest annual fundraiser. He also served on the NAGAAA board as the first member at large, helping to define that position in its inaugural year. Perhaps you know him better as the only 3-time executive director of the host committee for the Gay Softball World Series. Since 2008, he has created a vision for what the GSWS could be and led the teams for the 2010, 2015, and currently the 2021 series to continue to raise the bar and improve the player experience. His passion and commitment to this sport that we love and to NAGAAA is obvious. I'm so pleased to welcome to the stage my friend and an individual truly worthy of NAGAA's highest honor, Dallas Aldridge.
Those lights are bright. So I have lots of handwritten notes because everywhere I seem to be this week, my computer was not. So first I want to thank all of the Hall of Fame members for voting for me and putting my name with legends. That's what I look out to is legends of this sport. It's a true honor to be just put in that class and be a member of this amazing group of people. You know, the hard part about tonight is I was reminded, I was like, you have to talk about yourself. It's like, I can talk about the Gay Softball World Series till the paint comes off the wall. But right now, I have to kind of talk about myself. So that's a little hard. So I have a lot of great friends here. You know, one, Chet St. Clair, can I see you from here at my table? Chet was the founder of our league in Columbus. I'm honored that he's sitting at my table and came to this event tonight. There's so many other people that are here that have helped in 1, 2, or 3 of these events. Brian Lawrence was a co-director in 2010. We kind of did this together. You know, Craig Little did 2010 and 2015 with volunteers. Joe Stefanko, who did the opening ceremonies last night, this is his 3rd one. It was amazing. And you know, Rob Yonkman, who's helping with volunteers this year. But you know, one of the main people I really have to thank is Sam Schishler. And you know, he has been kind of in the league with me and in the World Series with me every step of the way. And he was always the money guy. He was always the guy that I picked up the phone and said, Sam, I need $5,000. And he would find me 10. So, you know, he was always great about when we needed to find things, we needed to do something. He was always the person that was there that stepped up and really helped do that. So I think there's a point that you should probably see him on the stage as well. You know, Keith and Michael, both of you have been involved for, you know, all 3 in different ways. Thank you. You know, my time in NAGAAA really isn't as long as a lot of people. You know, I didn't start playing until 2005. And 2005, friends invited me out. I played, fell in love. Started to be recruited to already be on the board the first year. And actually, when the season ended, I said, I'm not done. So I started looking for tournaments. Found a tournament in Memphis. And Chris Bolton was actually the tournament director of that. You know, it was a nice rainy weekend. We played the tournament in one day. It was like 10 games. Those damn Milwaukee Cosmos. It's really one of my most memorable things is, you know, they put us in the loser bracket. We got to play them in the final. We went with 10 people. The best memory from that is the 10 people we went with, one was someone's boyfriend who had never played softball. Someone didn't show up, and I said, Robbie, do you have an Abercrombie shirt with a number on it? He was our catcher for this event. We came in second. He hit it right over the first baseman every time. It was great. And the best part of that, and why I kind of tell that story, is because he's playing in the Gay Softball World Series this year. So after that, I traveled a little bit. I went to Toronto a couple times. Is Lisa here? I can't see you. If Lisa was here, Lisa was actually a pickup player on my team in Toronto when we didn't have enough people. But I was like, what is NAGAA? Like, I need to know more about this. And there was actually a phone call with Chris. Again, Chris kept coming into my life for some reason. And that became the start of Columbus rejoining NAGAA. Columbus was originally in the mid-'80s, I think '86, and then was out. And so Columbus joined again in 2008, and everyone was excited about Berliner Park. We joined in January, and by that summer, we were bidding to host the first Gay Softball World Series, and I had never been to one. So it was kind of a crazy step that we took. I remember Roy and Chris were scared. He can tell you a story about that. But we made our way through it, and I think one of the things we've done is we've always tried to elevate the event. We've always tried to raise the bar and exceed everybody's expectations. And I just forget, Eddie and John, I'm sorry, there are no zoo animals this time. We tried. Oh, where's my, see, I lost my place completely here. So, and one of my funniest stories, it's actually a Matt Miller story. I think he hated me for a little while. That's not true. But when we bid in 2008, it was against Dallas, so I had to change my name. There's a lot of jokes with that too. But that's when you had bid parties, and neither of us would close our door until the other one did. So it kept going and going, and I think that was the last year or next to last year that those parties went away, because it became very expensive. But since then, I've actually, I consider Matt Miller actually a friend. I admire everything he does for softball, and those are the people I look up to as wanting to give back. I see he's still continuing to give back to his league and giving money, and that's what I've always tried to do here. And this one, 2020, 2021, this one's been rough. You have to do a lot in a short period of time. So we were adding people and trying to get permits to close streets and, the funny things that work out when you're closing parties at Gay and High. You can buy those shirts on Saturday. So, and by the way, Roy has a 3-minute timer, and I'm sure I'm going to go over. It'll be fine. So I'm almost done. So I was recently asked by someone that joined our committee why I keep doing this. And at the point he asked that question, I couldn't answer. It's like, why do I keep doing this? Why have, all 14 years of Gay Softball World Series, it feels like. Why do I keep doing this? And I realized that what I found with softball was something that was probably missing. I found friendships, I found a chosen family, and it became a place that I loved. And during that, and with our league, and I think what our league was always about was giving back, so it was always I wanted to continue to give back, to raise money, to encourage other people to join. I totally lost my place now. I'll get there. So I'm wrapping up really quick. So, I'm pretty passionate about the event. I think I've said it to a few people, is sometimes my passion for the event can sometimes come off as arrogance or come off in the wrong way. It's only because I love it, I respect it, I want to make it the sporting event that it should be, and I want everybody that comes to this event to enjoy their time. I want to exceed their expectations. I want to let them take home memories that were unexpected for them, or to find something new while they're here. So I know, again, I thank you, and I hope you have a wonderful time while you're here, and, you know, honestly, honored by this.
Well, we have completed the 2020. We have a few special announcements and a few special recognitions, and I'd like to call on John Duffy to come up for our first special award.
Hello everyone. My name is John Duffy. I am proud to say I am your current NAGAAA Commissioner. Honestly, it's so great to see everybody here. You can feel the energy, the excitement. It's wonderful to see everybody be able to hug each other and smile and kind of catch up. I mean, the reunions are one of the best parts of us getting together. Congratulations to both classes 2020 and 2021 for allowing us to hear your stories, and for us, congratulations to all of us for sharing and really celebrating each and every one of their stories. All right, so I'd like to take some time to recognize an individual who is a true advocate, ally, and honestly what we consider a family member of NAGAAA. Not once, not twice, but 3 different years this person has committed herself and her entire team to help us with the Gay Softball World Series. In 2010, in 2015, and in 2020. But wait, a pandemic hit. 3 softball World Series were shifted. More planning was involved. So was this individual. This individual contributed equally to collaboration, brainstorming, and all of our work that goes into planning this year's 2021 GSWS. There are not enough words that can express how thankful we are for all that this individual has done and continues to do for NAGAAA, for each and every one of us in here, for all those players that are out there having a great time. So it is my honor, in appreciation of your many years of dedicated service, support, devotion, and commitment to our organization, it is my distinct honor to present this year's Outstanding Service Award to our friend from the Greater Columbus Sports Commission, Linda Logan.
Thank you all. Our team, we have staff members here and at the ballpark today, and I want to take this on behalf of all of the staff of the Greater Columbus Sports Commission and our community. We couldn't be any prouder to be a host 3 times. Congratulations to all the Hall of Fame members, both 2020 and 2021. A special shout out to Host Dallas. I'm so proud of you and our host organization, and of course the national organization. It's great to see Roy here. We've got to see Chris here and John, so such great legacy. We can't wait to continue to roll out the red carpet to all of you and have fun this week, right? Well, I'll see you at the ballpark. Thanks again.
Next, we have another award, but we have a video for that award initially.
Think about it, there must be a higher love down in the heart or hidden in the stars above. Without it, life is a wasted time.
Aspire to be gay.
Inside your heart and I'm looking
The Supreme Court will hear arguments today in two landmark cases for LGBTQ rights.
Gerald Bostock is one of the plaintiffs whose case was argued before the court.
What is fair? We walk the line and try to see.
This is not just about it. It is a national issue.
We want to turn now to that historic day at the Supreme Court.
A high-stakes day at the Supreme Court.
The justices heard the case of Gerald Bostock, fired from a county job in Georgia after joining a gay softball league.
Can you be fired for being gay or transgender?
This is probably the most consequential case for LGBTQ plus civil rights that the Supreme Court will hear in my lifetime.
The Civil Rights Act of 1964.
I'm not only fighting for myself, but I'm fighting for you too. And we're going to make this right.
We're just hanging on, facing our fear and standing out there alone. I am the air, and it's real to me. There must be someone who's feeling for me. Think it's so bad everywhere in this whole world. What is fair?
A lot of people don't even know this is going on. And that's the reason why somebody had to stand up for workplace discrimination.
Bring me a higher
In recognition of your significant contributions toward protection against discrimination because of sexual orientation or gender identity, I am proud and honored to give this year's Trailblazer Award to Gerald Lynn Bostock.
Thank you everyone. And thank you, John, and to all of the NAGAAA board for this very special honor. I am extremely humbled by this, and it means more than you'll ever know. More than, again, how appropriate for a slogan here. And yes, every softball player does have a story to tell. Some small, big, easy, difficult, happy, sad. You just got a glimpse into my story, very eloquently presented by my communication team, Posting Communications. And I'm very grateful for them to help me tell my story across this country. My story began with a cancer diagnosis, which is what led me to want to join the Hotlanta Softball League. I wanted to join to prove to myself that I could not only do it physically, but that I could also do it mentally. And this was after my treatments and during my recovery from cancer. And obviously our stories can change, and mine certainly did within 6 months after joining you, the NAGAAA family. Reason for termination, conduct unbecoming a Clayton County employee. As I've said from the beginning though, no one should have to go to work fearful of losing their job because of who they are, who they love. So we took my case all the way up to the United States Supreme Court. And for those of you who may be wondering just how great the late Justice Ruth Ginsburg was, it's true. Trust me. But you know, I've come to learn that our stories don't have to define us, though. I'm a partner. I'm a son. I'm a brother, a friend, and yes, I'm a cancer survivor. I'm an advocate turned activist, and yes, I'm a softball player. And my story continues. My case has been remanded back to the 11th Circuit, which includes Georgia, Florida, and Alabama, which allows me to continue my action against my former employer. We're also working towards trying to establish a national Equality Act. We absolutely have to have this in place for those states that don't have individualized equality acts. So please reach out to your political leaders and encourage them to vote for and pass this important piece of legislation and get it to President Biden's desk ASAP. I'd like to thank my partner, Andy, who is here with me this evening, who's been by my side, supporting me, holding me up, helping me every step of the way. I also thank my loving family and my strong circle of friends, my fantastic legal team at Buckley Bill out of Atlanta, the great agencies like Georgia Equality, ACLU, and HRC that have stood by my side and also supported Amy Stevens and Don Zarda, the other two plaintiffs in our case. I'd also like to thank the NAGAAA family, the leagues, the teams, players from all over this country that reached out to me in a show of support, both before Washington and after Washington. I could not have done it without all of you by my side as well. I'd like to congratulate all of the recipients tonight to the Hall of Fame. That's fantastic, and congrats. And I'd like to wish good luck to all the teams here that are competing. Thank you very much.
Okay, this part of the program is going to be tough, but we'll start with the video.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again.
very happy. This is like the most rewarding coaching thing ever.
Damn, who knew? All the planes we flew, the things we've been through. Then I'll be standing right here talking to you about another path. I know we love to hit the road and laugh, but something told me that it wouldn't last. Had to switch up, look at things different, see the bigger picture. Those were the days, hard work forever pays. Now I see you in a better place, in a better place. How can we not talk about feeling when feeling's all that we got? Everything I went through, you were standing there by my side, and now you gon' be with me for the last ride. It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again. First you both go out your way and the vibe is feeling strong. It was small, turn to a friendship turn to a bond, and that bond will never be broken. The love will never get lost. Brotherhood come first, and the line will never be crossed. Established it on our own, and that line had to be drawn, and that line is what we reach. So remember me when I'm gone. How can we not talk about feeling when feeling's all that we got? Everything I went through, you were standing there by my side, and now you gon' be with me for the last one. Let the light guide your way, yeah. Hold every memory as it goes, and every road you take will always lead you home. Oh, it's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
Just like the 2, 3, back down! Whoa!
15-13, it doesn't matter, they pull it off, clutch, go cartel!
I would ask you to raise a glass for Ken. I don't drink tequila. But in your program on page 4, there's a very special thing that I think we all should be involved in. The Ken Skeers Scholarship Fund. When we lost Ken on July 7th, we lost an incredible human. I would venture to say that he touched most of us in this room. He was fun, he was a competitor, and yet he was all about gay sports. And he was a great ambassador. From the Sin City shootout to Washington, D.C., to LA, he was everything that we want to be. So this scholarship fund, we've raised to date $8,250. That's not enough. I set a goal that I would like to see us raise $20,000 for this year. We will be giving this annually at the Hall of Fame dinner, and this will carry on Ken's legacy. As I said before, Deborah Jean and Right Choice Promotions are selling those t-shirts. $5 going to NAGAAA Hall of Fame and $5 going to the Ken Sears Scholarship Fund. Please consider, if all of us in this room gave $50, we would raise $17,000 for this fund. It's tax deductible. Please consider it. Thank you. I can't believe I got through that. Now we're moving on to the class of 2021.
I'm currently a member of the Atlanta Softball League for almost 20 years. I'm honored to have nominated Tim Clancy for this year's NAGAAA Hall of Fame. Tim Clancy has been part of the Atlanta Softball League for over 10 years now. He has been part of the JRC, he's been assistant commissioner, and he's also been commissioner all in a span of 8 years. And currently, he is the NAGAAA treasurer. I'm honored to induct Tim Clancy into this year's 2021 NAGAAA Hall of Fame.
Thank you, everybody. As your NAGAAA treasurer, I can help take those donations for Ken Sears. I first want to say thank you to everyone. This is such a prestigious honor. I am truly very humbled to have been named into the Hall of Fame. I want to thank my friends in Atlanta and South Florida and across the country. A special thanks to the Peters for putting up years of supporting me. Thank you to my teammates who have always been there. A special thanks to Chris Gilmore for hearing my stories and how we lost that game. Also a special shout out to Chris Bolton, who encouraged me to continue to work harder as a delegate and to become the NAGAAA treasurer. But this honor hasn't been given to me just because it's because of all of you out there. 30 years ago, when I was in my young 20s, I got introduced to gay softball. I was in the car with my partner at the time and he said, "Hey Tim, do you want to play in a softball league?" And I turned to him and I gave him one of my looks and I said, "Are you kidding? A softball league, me, on a team, playing with straight men and being harassed and humiliated for my skill level." He kind of smiled and he said, "No, Tim, this is a gay league." I went, "Huh?" Mind blown. I said, "Well, you know what? Let me try it. I'll try playing in a softball league." From the moment I stepped on that field, my first practice, my first game, the season, I felt connected. I felt like I belonged. I met my best friends playing softball, my first year and in my current year. They're all still my great friends. While playing ball, I always knew that there was someone, something, somebody's out there that put this all together. They got the umpires, they got the softballs, they got the fields. There was somebody there. But you know what? I didn't care who they were. I just wanted to play ball. I just wanted to have fun, and I did. As years went on, I decided, you know what, I wanted to get a little bit more involved. Let me help out, let me do something more. So I did. As I moved to South Florida, and then as I moved to Atlanta, I was privileged and happy that I could help out. And I continue to take more and more roles throughout both of those leagues, helping each person. I'm so privileged and honored to now be part of the NAGAAA board and to work with such an outstanding, dedicated team. So thank you to the NAGAAA board. You know, when we talk about why do we do this? Why do we play ball? Why do I get involved? It's for that 18-year-old that still wants to play ball after high school. It's for that 30-year-old person who wants to be introduced to being gay and doesn't know how to find something. But this is a safe environment. It's for that 55-year-old person who says, you know what? I'd like to play ball. I used to play years ago, but I'd like to play ball. My goal is to let everybody play ball. My goal is I don't have to be known. I just want them to come and play ball in a safe and secure environment in the LGBT community. So I stand here tonight in front of you because of each one of you. And the reason we're here is because of you. If it wasn't for your dedication, your courage, your athleticism, and your commitment to NAGAAA, we wouldn't be here, and NAGAAA wouldn't be what it is today. So again, I thank you all for the honor tonight, and I am so privileged. But I truly thank you all for everything that you've done for making NAGAAA what it is. Thank you very much.
Hall of Fame, class of 2017. It was my honor to nominate, and it's my honor to introduce Carl Sharp, class of 2021. Carl passed away in 2015 at the age of 70. He lived a very long and interesting life, and he impacted the many organizations that he was a part of, including his beloved NAGAAA. Carl became involved in gay softball back in the late 80s in Chicago at the very beginning. And he attended the Gay Softball World Series from the early 90s up until his death just a few years ago. He was a player, he was a coach, he was an umpire, but beyond all of that, Carl was a unique and beautiful person. When you met Carl, you definitely remembered him for a long time. So what I wanted to say most of all today was we love you, Carl, we miss you, we think about you all the time. Congratulations on your induction into the Hall of Fame. And everyone back in Chicago will be having some plain M&Ms in your honor. Congratulations again, Carl.
I'm Glenn Rexing. I'm here on behalf of Brian Bader. He has travel issues and couldn't be here. I'm a little nervous because it was a man. Also, it's very hard for me to speak about Carl because of what he meant to us. So I thank all of them on the Hall of Fame members who voted for him. Windy City, CMSA in Chicago, and all the players in Chicago. Thank you, because bestowing this honor for him means the world to us. And I know somewhere he knows it happened for him. And I'm glad he's not here maybe to talk about it because we never knew what was going to come out of Carl's mouth. Or if he could interpret it. But I just want to take take just a moment to tell you, Carl, the softball player, and Carl, the coach, and Carl, the mentor for me. 1994, I met him, and I was skinny, and he's like, you could be a good player if you listen to me. So I tried, and then I listened to other people. But no, he was my friend. And one thing he said to me is, he goes, after a few years of being on the same team, he said, do you see me? And he goes, we are different people. Well, he's White Sox, I'm Cubs, but there's more than that. There is a lot of differences between us. And he goes, well, if you see me, I'll see you. And he taught me more than anything about the softball field. He became my family. And he filled a hole in my heart for some family. And then he made one, and he left me in 2015. And I'm just honored to get a moment with you to say how wonderful of a man this man was. And I kissed his ring every time he put it out. And nobody else did. And I said, Carl, why am I the only one that kissed this ring? And he goes, because you're the only one who kisses my ring. But I also want to mention before I close, I want to thank a few of the Hall of Fame members, not only all of you for voting again, but a little unknown thing about Brian Reeder, Phil Williams, and Frank Kister is when Carl was leaving us, he didn't have family like well, he did, he had not a family. Those three Hall of Fame members filled in every shift and visited him every day until the end. And when I couldn't be there, and they just filled in. And so it's an honor for me to know that you guys recognize my friend, my family, Carl in this way. So thank you so much.
Commissioner of SSBL Milwaukee, and I'm pleased to represent Milwaukee in the introduction of Mike Wesley, our inductee into the NAGAAA Hall of Fame. Mike has been active in our league since 1981 and has been instrumental in the success of SSBL, as well as the many years of support and participation of NAGAAA. He's been a GSWS umpire for many years, our league UIC going on 22 years now, and he devotes a lot of time volunteering for our league, including on the host committee when Milwaukee hosted the GSWS in 2009. When I joined SSBL 23 years ago, Mike had left an impression on me with his knowledge of the game and his commitment, as he was very willing to teach new players and help us understand the rules. That passion I see has only grown stronger since that first year, as I now get the opportunity to work together with him in my role as commissioner. Please join me in congratulating my friend, Mike Wesley, on his induction into the NAGAAA Hall of Fame.
Good afternoon. Good evening, I should say. I'm humbled and honored to join this elite group of men and women of the NAGAAA Hall of Fame. I'm proud to represent Milwaukee and Madison, Wisconsin. I'm a very lucky man to have three families. I'm the youngest of 8 and have been accepted and loved by my entire family my whole life. I want to thank my 89-year-old mother, Barbara Wesley, who took care of all of us. I want to thank my brothers and sisters for the love and the support from the day I came out. I lost my husband of 23 years, 8 years ago. His name was Jim Miller. And he was the ultimate softball widow. I would not be here without him, and he will always be in my heart. I want to thank my sister and brother-in-law, Mary and Chris Brock, for representing the Wesley family. My second family is in SSBL. In 1992, I joined the Saturday Softball Beer League, where I fell in love with softball. I met a gentleman named Tommy Southsider. We never played on the same team together in Milwaukee. We played in many tournaments together, even won a championship in Toronto. I want to thank Kurt Baldwin for introducing me tonight and for being a great friend for over 25 years. He is coming over to the dark side. He is becoming an umpire. There are so many more that I need to recognize, and I just don't have the time, but I must recognize Mona Garcia. Mona has been a wonderful friend, a great supporter of the SSBL and of NAGAA. Mona, I love you. My third family is my umpire family. For 35 years, I've had some of the closest friends who I call fellow blues from across the country and Canada. I am pleased and honored to work with each and every one of you. I'm proud to be in a group with the inductees, especially my fellow blue, Craig Hershaw, Julie Caldwell, and Ken Tedford from Toronto, my sister city. Thank you, and good night.
Inductee is someone I met at my first gay softball tournament back in 2004. He is a 28-year veteran of NAGAAA, winning 1 World Series title, and has coached and/or played in 28 consecutive World Series, including this year. He has played in 7 different NAGAAA leagues, starting in Norfolk, playing in Tampa, Fort Lauderdale, Orlando, Boston, Dallas, and Atlanta. He has won multiple awards in every league and held multiple board positions in those leagues. He's a welcoming fixture on the tournament circuit and has multiple tournament wins all over the country. Everyone loves his sense of humor and his very, very outgoing personality, knowing he would do anything he could for anyone. It is my honor to introduce my good friend, the man we simply know as Barney. Please join me in welcoming George Glenmore to the NAGAAA.
I just want to thank the NAGAAA Hall of Fame for nominating me and voting for me. I also want to thank Jeff Gunter for my introduction, Eddie Visconti for my nomination. I started my career back in '94 with the Virginia Outlaws. There's one friend there here tonight that's been with me the whole time, and that's my sister, Tommy Wilson. Thank you for being honest. I also need to thank Mark Grotman for, back in 1994, my second game. He gave me the nickname of Barney because I was a little short, blonde hair, tan, looked like Barney Bubble running down the bases. So that stuck with me the whole 28 years of playing. Since then, I've met wonderful people across the country, both in tournaments and the World Series, that stands out to me, like Matt Miller, Buck Lockman, Ron Burby, Nancy Courage. But there's one person I really need to thank, because if he wasn't in my life today, I wouldn't be. As y'all know, many of the last few years, I've been in and out of the hospital with health issues, kidney failure, winter coma. So I was in and out of the hospital. This person stood by my side held my hand, picks me up when I fall down every day, which I just felt yesterday. He is the wonderful person in my life, Andrew Kenny. I'm expecting this short and sweet because we only get 3 minutes, so my time is up.
I'm Matt LeClaire, and I have the honor of welcoming my coach and teammate Jeff Furman to the NAGAAA Hall of Fame. Jeff has been in NAGAAA for 22 years. You most likely know Jeff from the team he created 14 years ago, the Palm Springs Rounders. After winning the B Division World Series in 2012, Jeff has led the Rounders to becoming a perennial elite team in the A Division with 5 top 3 finishes at World Series, including 2 championships, and 9 top 3 finishes at NAGAAA Cup, including 4 championships. As the manager, Jeff is a relentless organizer and communicator. As the coach, he is always one to share his vast softball experience and extends well beyond his teammates. He generously gives his time and expertise coaching other teams and players in the Palm Springs League. Jeff is also the co-founder of the Palm Springs Turkey Shootout Tournament, which has raised over $35,000. Well done, Jeff. Congratulations.
First, I want to thank the man in my life who has allowed me to do this for the last 22 years. Unfortunately, he's not able to be here tonight, but my husband of 23 years, Rich Abel, I love you so much, and thank you for letting me do that. One thing I think we have to realize is that the spouses, boyfriends, girlfriends, family members, husbands, wives, significant others, they give up a lot so that we can do the things that we really want to do. And they sacrifice their time with us, their activities with us, vacations at a certain time of the year that they never get to do. There's so many cruises we would have loved to take that have not been able to do. So thank you to all the spouses as a closeted gay athlete in a small Midwest conservative town of 1,800 people, I had no idea that anything like this existed. I pretty much thought I was the only gay athlete out there. So imagine my surprise when I came out and moved to Anaheim, California, and did an internet search for gay athletes, gay sports, and up pops a list of about 20 gay sports leagues. How did I miss this? So I found the gay softball league in Long Beach and sent them a letter and said, hey, I just moved here. I'm looking to play ball. And here we are, 22 years later, and I have loved every minute of it and wouldn't trade it for the world. There's one person I would really love to thank, and it's one of your fellow Hall of Fame members, and that's James Williamson, for inspiring me to be more than just a player, going out and doing this thing and going home, to try to give back a little bit, to be a more integral part of the organization, to be a mentor, and so thank you, James. I love you. Personally, I found it really cool and appropriate that this year's slogan for the World Series is "It's more than a game," because that's kind of how I viewed my 22 years in this organization and playing. And I really try to instill that into everybody I come in contact to, whether it's a teammate, whether it's somebody I'm helping coach, whether it's an ardent opponent. And I really hope that that's something that we can instill in the younger generation and the new players that are coming into this league, because it's not just about winning, it is so much more. Some more thank yous real quick. I want to thank my Palm Springs folks who are here supporting me tonight. I appreciate it. There are 3 people I'd really like to send a special thank you to: Keith Richards, Matt O'Claret, who nominated me, and Gabe Barajas, who have stood by my side and been my teammate for the last 18 years. It's just been a wonderful ride with you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you again to the Hall of Fame members who felt I was worthy of this honor. I'm humbly grateful and appreciative, and I hope I continue to make you proud, and because I don't want this to be the end. And I guess the last thing is just congratulations to my fellow inductees of both classes, 2020 and 2021. I'm glad we're finally able to get this done and taken care of. Thank you so much.
From Philadelphia, class of 2018. I am proud to introduce our next inductee and great friend, Robert Cataract Lenihan. I first met Bob in 2001 at the Tampa tournament. He just happened to be joining the team since he was dating one of my teammates. But he must have enjoyed himself so much that he decided to join the league for the upcoming season. And from that point on, Bob and I played on the same team for 15 years. And over his 21 years in the league, Bob has served as Assistant Commissioner, Treasurer, Finance Director, Asana World Series Director, and Commissioner. Also during that same time period, Bob has attended 19 of the 20 World Series, and he has placed 4 times, 1 first, 1 second, and 2 third place finishes. Bob has also attended and supported the league. He attends all league functions no matter the reason for the event. He has also supported league members in all their personal endeavors, and the local gay community center, the Wooden Way. Please pass me some tissues. I am honored to introduce our next inductee to the Hall of Fame, Robert Lenihan.
First, I want to congratulate and say how honored I am to be included in this amazing class of inductees, as well as past honorees who I've been amazed by and looked up to for so long. Second, I want to thank Eddie Visconti, who nominated me. When I first heard Eddie nominate me, I was amazed and I was humbled and I was grateful. But it also got me thinking, if it wasn't for NAGAAA, would I know Eddie? Would I know any of the great guys from Southern Women like Robbie and Sam? It got me thinking about what is family and what is friendship. Growing up during the height of the AIDS epidemic in the 80s, coming from an devout Catholic family, I came out much later in life than most people. To this day, I remember my family saying they loved the gays, but it was such a sad and lonely life. I didn't want to have a sad and lonely life. But eventually I took a risk. I went to a bar, I met someone, he convinced me to join his City of Living Love softball team. And that's where I met Brian Lulu Mentz, who was the manager of Converts. That player left our team that year, but I stayed. Lulu went on to be my manager for the next 15 years, from the Thunderbirds to Triple Play. But in addition to Lulu, those first couple months I met amazing people like Jim Sugarcane and Jeff, Trudy, all the way May, Turgis. People who I still consider brothers and sometimes sisters. The first time I heard Trudy May scream "Dirk in the skirt," I knew I met my soulmates. Softball and GSWS and NAGAAA made me realize, as Rosie said, it always made me feel wrong. But not anymore. I mean, look, there's a lot of us. I think we're all okay. I eventually realized that it was not a lonely, isolated life. To the contrary, it expanded my life, it expanded my family, it expanded my friends. I now consider people from California to Rockford to Mid-Atlantic like Jimmy Dillon to be my family. People I probably would not have met otherwise. This newfound family didn't just open my eyes, but it gave me the strength to trust my own family, my blood family. And guess what? They no longer think it's a sad and lonely life. They're totally committed and supportive of me. NAGAAA in the local leagues is what gets inside and lights you up. Some might say it's hard and it's supposed to be hard. If it wasn't hard, everyone would do it. Well, sometimes it is hard. But guess what? Here, everyone can do it. It's what I love about our leagues. It truly is a league of our own. But that R is welcoming to everyone. That ours is inclusive, so that we got Canadians, Irishmen, and Swedes. So if you're looking for a league to play softball, a league to feel accepted, or just a league to find friends, our leagues have it for everyone. And that is what I love about our leagues. Because softball has given me so much, I wanted to give back, and I joined our Philly Commission. I eventually became commissioner because I wanted to help others experience acceptance in the family that I've so come to love here. So even if you can't join a board or volunteer, please take the time to thank those who have stepped up. It's not an easy job to run a league, to run a team, or to run a tournament. So I want to thank my Philly League, my teams, and NAGAAA for expanding and brightening my world. If it was without them, I would not have met my own Marla Hooch, Joe Blank. What a hero. 17 years ago, 17 years ago, my team picked up Joe Bland and one of his friends to play in the Phoenix tournament with us. And right from then on, I knew he did not need a lot of night games. So I want to thank Joe for supporting me and only begrudgingly complaining when I dragged him out to volunteer and to work on the fields. He has raked more softball fields than he ever imagined in his lifetime. So thank you, Joe. I also want to thank my managers, Lulu and Jeff Sotlin, my fellow GSWS commissioners, like Sotlin, Sue Day, and Kevin Armstrong, who to this day still inspire me. And of course, I want to thank my Triple Play family, who have supported me even when I was done and throwing breakthroughs, still missing the cutoff man, or when I can't hit the high fastballs or lay off them. From the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. And if you haven't been keeping count, I've only been able to squeeze in 15 league of their own references in this 3 minutes. And I'm going to leave you with one more that I think is very sound wisdom, great kernel of knowledge. Avoid the clap, Jimmy Dillon. It's good advice. Thank you so much.
Hall of Fame class of 2014, here to introduce Tampa's Robert "Bobby" Schwall. Bobby's journey in our league can be summed up with numbers. He's been an active member for over 25 years, was our first commissioner to serve a 3-year term, then came back a decade later to serve a 5-year term. He was our first Miss Gasparilla, raising tourney funds, then went on to host numerous Miss Suncoast softball pageants. During his tenure, we grew to our largest, had our 25th year league celebration, our 25th annual tournament, and hosted our first Gay Softball World Series. Bobby is known for tens of thousands of pictures he's taken while roaming the sidelines on Sundays, to the tens of thousands of dollars raised for the community under his leadership. He'll especially be known as a leader who never once put himself or his teams above the league, something few can say. Most of all, he's known as a great friend. Tampa's Bobby Schwall.
I'm so honored to be inducted into the 2021 NAGAAA Hall of Fame, and I want to thank all the Hall of Fame members who voted for me. I want to give a big thanks to Jerry Reynolds, Jim Mitchner, and Ron Frank. They've all been mentors to me over the years as I progressed through the league. Who knew 25 years ago that I would be the league's commissioner for over 8 years, participate in several of our fundraisers, and form lifelong friendships within the league. I also want to thank Marty Walsh and Michael Layton. We started out together on the same team and have played together for over 25 years. I'm here this week with them as a 4-string player, obviously, on their Masters C Division team, but it's been truly a pleasure. I consider them my brothers, and without them, I don't know if I would survive 8 years as the league commissioner. I'm going to keep this very short and sweet. I know we've had a fun-filled evening and a lot of different speakers, but I'm especially proud of my Suncoast Softball League and the members that were able to attend this evening. I know they played games earlier today, but I truly love our league. I love NAGAAA, and I'm so happy to be a part of it for the last 25 years. Thank you.
Hello everyone, and greetings from Toronto. I'm Kevin Sun, manager of the Outlaws, past commissioner and current treasurer of the CGSL. It is with great honor that I introduce my friend and esteemed member of our CGSL family, Tom Lovejoy. Tom has actively contributed to our league for over 30 years as a player, manager, umpire, and member of our executive. He is an exceptionally skilled and versatile player, participating in multiple tournaments, including 17 GSWSs, with his team winning CGSL's only GSWS title in 1997. Tom was also one of our most consistent umpires, umpiring for over 17 years and serving as our UIC for 3 years. Hello everyone, I'm greetings from Toronto. I'm Kevin Sun, manager of the Outlaws, past commissioner and current treasurer of CGSL. It is with great honor that I introduce my friend and esteemed member of our CGSL family, Tom Lovejoy.
Okay, I'm not really comfortable with this. I hate the attention. I was told there's going to be about 400 people here tonight, and I've never spoken more than 5 people at a time in any room, so I'm a little nervous. Okay, everybody is, right? Okay, I just want to talk about this morning when everybody's headed to playing fields. I stayed at the hotel. I'm resting a hip that I had replaced a year ago. So I had time to walk around, and I stumbled upon the NAGAAA archives. So I walked in there and looked through the binder, looked at all the pictures. Some people I recognized, some people from Toronto, many years ago. Good friends of mine are inducted already. And it just hit me, well, why am I being nominated and inducted into the Hall of Fame? What have I done? So I guess I just wanted to talk about my personal journey in gay softball. I came from a small town in London, Ontario, and in 1998, last year of university, I decided to come out. I was a loner. I felt alone in the world. I knew I was gay. I knew I was different. And I decided that night I was going to go to the Gay and Lesbian Association at Western Ontario, the university. So I went there. I was one of the first people there. I went into this large hall to the back of the room and started watching people. I was terrified. And people started filing in. I would listen, talk to people, and then I realized I have nothing in common with any of these people. Because I was a gay athlete, not a gay athlete, that might just an athlete. And I almost wanted to leave. And I would have made a scene if I had gotten up there in the middle of the meeting and left. So, being very shy and timid, I just stayed right where it was. At the end of the meeting, this guy comes in, his name is Bert Duncan, and he started talking about games and sports, baseball in particular. We started talking after the meeting. I was intrigued, so we started talking. I joined the league. It was in London, Ontario, 4 teams. He had started the league. 13 years later, we finally broke up. And he is my bestie. We talk every day, even though we're in different cities. He got me started in it, and I have him to thank for it. We went to so many World Series together. This is my 18th World Series. I'm not blind. I just wanted to attend. And there was supposed to be a group from Toronto coming down, driving down, but they couldn't do it because of the COVID and the border issues. I would have loved to have him here, talk about what he meant to me in doing this and getting me involved. He made me what I am today. I was afraid of my own shadow, and when I came to Toronto, I became a captain all of a sudden. I developed leadership skills, I had confidence, I became a person. And I attribute gay softball to that. And here we are, 33 years later playing gay softball. My career is ending because of injuries, and now I've been inducted, and it sounds like a perfect circle. I appreciate being inducted. I appreciate all the efforts of the people involved in NAGAA, the players, the umpires, the volunteers, and the executive, and you people. Any chance you get to thank any of these people, just do it. A little pat on the shoulder, because they changed my life.
Evening, my name is Lisa Cameron, the Assistant Commissioner of the CGSL in Toronto. I'm here to tell you about Ken Tedford. I've known Ken for over 20 years, and a 1-minute video will not do him justice, so I'm just going to tell you he's one of a kind. He's a man of great integrity, compassion, work ethic, pride, community, intelligence, and an amazing leader. Ken absolutely deserves this honor. Ken has been a positive influence on every person he's met. His laughter is infectious and his generosity unsurpassed. The CGSL, NAGAA, and umpiring of Ken's life. He dedicates more time to the love of softball than anyone I've ever known. His drive to expand our league and get other Canadian leagues exposed to NAGAA is colossal. On a personal note, Ken, you are a warrior and a force to be reckoned with. You are my best friend, and I'm so proud of you. I'm so grateful to have you in my life, and so lucky to have you as a mentor. You made a difference in the lives of so many. You are loved and appreciated. And you, my sweet polar bear, are a hero to many, me included. I love you.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Like Tom, I'm terrible at this, so I wrote everything down so I wouldn't forget anything. Good evening, everyone. 20-some years ago, I got involved in a typical Canadian sport, curling, with the Gay Curling League in Toronto. I was approached by an amazing man, a Hall of Famer, Gary Mance, who asked if I played ball. And when I acknowledged that I played when I was a kid, he said he convinced me to come out that summer and join the Cabbagetown Group Softball League. Joining the league was the start of something so special. At the time, I was a trans enforcement officer and not out for fear of reprisal and being ostracized. But meeting so many people of our community where it was free to be yourself, it was uplifting, and it gave me the confidence to be myself. Over the years, I've made so many good friends, and with many, becoming the best of friends. And as with many others, the league became another family for me. Within a couple of years of being in the league, our team decided to come to the World Series when it was held in Milwaukee back in 2009. The experience was mind-blowing. To see so many players, coaches, fans enjoying the sport of softball to such an extreme, I was hooked. Unfortunately, due to a few injuries, I had to give up playing but return to umpiring, which I'd done in my late teens and early 20s. Then came umpiring the World Series in Columbus in 2015, which has now come full circle. Now I have another great group of people that I consider family, the NAGAAA Blue Group. Three of whom are being awesome buddies. There's so much enjoyment from playing and umpiring in the sport, I decided to give back. First, my own league, the CGSL, as a coach, umpire, UIC, and then joining our board as assistant commissioner, and for the past 4 years, the commissioner. And as Toronto's delegate, I found another avenue to give back with joining a couple of community committees, then as subcommittee co-chair for the Membership Community Initiative. I want other Canadian cities to know what NAGAAA has to offer and to enjoy the amazing experience of attending the German World Series, and yet another family to behold. I have made so many great friends over the years with the NAGAAA and with the Blue Group, and I want to thank them all for sharing of themselves and for their continued friendships. And because of NAGAAA and the Portland World Series, a very special friend came into my life, and I want to thank you for his love and support. Excuse me. None of this would not be possible without the support of the players and members of the CGSL family, the league's members emeritus, who unfortunately couldn't be here tonight, but of course because of the board issues could not. Especially Jack Brannigan, Jeff De Silva, and Gary Trudeau, all members of the Hall of Fame and past CGSL commissioners. And past CGSL commissioners John Hunking and Kevin Simon. All who have been great mentors, and I can't thank them enough for their support, guidance, camaraderie, and the love within our family. And to the Hall of Fame members and the NAGAAA board, I want to thank you for allowing me the privilege of joining such a prestigious group. It's such an honor. I offer my congratulations to my fellow inductees. You are very special people, and your inductions are well deserved. I also want to thank my husband Luke, who unfortunately could not be here, but he has put up with many days and weeks away, late nights, and many meetings for all. Thank you for your love and support. This is going to be tough. But the biggest thank you must go to my softball wife, my best friend, Lisa Cameron. I was so lucky so many years ago to meet this spicy lady on the first team I joined, and after traveling to a few tournaments and many years in the league, we have become Mr. and Mrs. Softball with CGSL. She has been my right hand over the past few years and has always been so supportive and gives of herself so much. Thanks so much, Dolphins. Thank you all for joining us for the special night, and remember we are all family. We're all here as it is. What a game. Thank you.
So our wonderful partnership that we have with Justin's, we wanted to put a reminder out that for those of you that are just inducted or anyone who has been inducted in the past that is still interested in getting a ring, please see me. I have beautiful forms to fill out. I also have a screen in case you're not certain what sizes you have, so you can get your order information posted. All right.
Well, we did it. By my watch, it is 9:43. Just a few more things real quick. Before we have our picture that we will have up here of all Hall of Fame members in attendance with their shirts on. Again, I just want to say the Ken Sears Fund is very dear to my heart. And I would just encourage you to buy the t-shirts from Right Choice Promotions and give online, please. We can make a difference with that, and Ken would love that. I want to recognize one senior Hall of Fame member that's here, Tommy Selsider from Milwaukee. So, two things. All Hall of Fame members can come up here for the annual photo. And then afterwards, we're going to have a class of 20 photo, a class of 21 photo, and the class of 20 and 21, there is a special gift from Beam Centauri out in the hall, so pick it up on the way out. So, thank you for coming.